one of my pupils was going up for a really important audition. He'd got down to the last two. So I said to him the next time I saw him, so what happened? You know, how did the audition go? He went, didn't happen. I was like, oh, I'm really sorry. He went, you know, sometimes things happen for a reason, you know. I didn't get it, but Keller Etil. Obviously, he meant c'est la vie, but yeah. Keller Etil.
See you went, oh, 320. Yes. OK, as ever, we always want to hear your views on all of today's topics, from avoiding phone calls to getting in a muddle about music. Get in touch, email us at the usual address. Now, today in the Daily Mail, leading fertility expert Zita West has called for couples who are having trouble conceiving to look at making serious lifestyle changes before considering IVF. She believes that most fertility problems can be tackled without making IVF the first line of treatment. So, over the last 30 years since IVF has been available, has it transformed women's lives for the better, giving them greater freedom to choose when they have babies and allowing, of course, infertile women to have children? Or is it just another example of what some would call our have-it-all society? Jane?
Well, I know a lot of women who've had children with IVF, and they are so happy, and the children are adorable, and if we hadn't have had IVF, these kids wouldn't have been born. So I am all for anything. We are moving on medically every day. Life is changing and we have to move with the times. And it's not, you see, women and men are in different... There's a lot more second marriages now. There's a lot more third marriages. And sometimes you don't get it right with the first one and you want to get it right with the second one. And also, it's not just the women who have got problems here. There's a lot of men who have got very low sperm counts now. So it's finding what is going to work.
One.
Yes, I know you only need one. One, but you know, sometimes they're not swimming just as well as they were.
Oh,
look, you
right.
see.
Okay. So it's the speed they're swimming.
Yes, and obviously women have got careers, men have got careers, and I don't think it is all about having a have it all. Sometimes it's just not the right time.
But sometimes it is that, though. That's the problem for me. And I understand what you're saying. I've got no idea what it's like to be desperate to have a child, and who knows, you know, you don't know unless you're in that situation what you would do. But I do think that, you know, more often than not now, I mean, there is a lot of women now who really, I think, don't try hard enough and go straight for the IVF. Why you would want to do that, I've got absolutely no idea, because it's not a pleasant process. I know loads of people who've done it as well. I know lots of successful people and lots of people who have failed in numerous attempts. And the problem with that is the disappointment is magnified, you know, 100,000 times because of the expectation and, you know, because you know people who it's worked with. And the success rate isn't brilliant.
But at least they've tried.
Well, yes, I know, and you do have to try if that's what you desperately want. But I honestly do think that there are women who just think, oh, I have, you know, 2 months, haven't got pregnant, I'm going to go and get IVF. And I think also that it is a business where women can be exploited, because it's a business.
It costs a lot of money, doesn't it?
It costs a fortune. It is about money. And I do think that sometimes, because I know, and I know we all know, a hell of a lot of women who've had IVF, failed, and then relaxed, thought, right, it's not going to happen, and then got pregnant. And that happens a lot. So I do, you know, I do think when doctors are saying, oh, you know, you're infertile, it's not going to happen, blah, 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 I don't know if that is always the case.
The thing is, though, when talking to somebody, I only tried for a baby for 1.5 years, and that's not long compared to other people, but for me, it was a lifetime. When you are yearning, and I say that word with full-on emotion, the yearning for having a baby takes over your life. Everything you think, everywhere you look, you're looking at children, you're looking at pregnant women. I was absolutely desperate. Now, I gave myself 1 year, and then I sort of changed my mind, but if that was now, me being so impatient now, if that was what I wanted and I knew that I wanted to have a baby, then I probably would. And I think it's very unfair to people to use IVF because they're lazy and they can't be bothered to try. I tried properly. People
surely don't use IVF because they're lazy and they can't be bothered.
Well, I think what this expert is saying, what she's saying is these lifestyle changes are people are working far too hard, far too long hours. They're exhausted when they get home.
More
you know,
stress.
the
They're
basic thing
stressed.
of how to make a baby is, you know, is obviously to make love with your partner, and they're too tired to do it, and they're not doing it often enough, and you have to do it lots to, you know,
But
to
time
fall
is
pregnant.
also running out, though, isn't it, for a lot of women?
Of course, and I'm with you in that I think, you know, it's a wonderful, amazing technology for for people who, you know, are perhaps older or have difficulties conceiving naturally. I think that's great. But I think, you know, she makes the good point that our lives are so full on and so frenetic that we do leave it to the last minute and then we want it right now.
Yeah.
And that, you know, and she says also people have to look at their social lives, you know, how much are you drinking? You know,
But
people are...
you can't take 2 years out and just, you know, if you're 39, you can't just take 2 years out and think, I'll give up drinking, see if it works. You know, you have to make a decision
You
there
have to
and
change
then.
your life. If you're
Yes,
trying
but you
for a
can't
baby,
give up
you have
work.
to change
You can't
your
just
life.
give up work.
No.
And think that's going to de-stress you.
No.
You know, because it's going to pay your
we're stressed.
mortgage.
I'll tell you something, this is me being completely honest now. I'm 38, and if I wasn't married now, and if I didn't have a child now, 38, I know that it's on the borderline, eggs are getting tired and all that, I would go and do it straight away. Because if I wanted a baby, maybe because I
with a
know
sperm
how
donor?
much, I'd get a sperm donor and I'd have a baby. So, because if that's what I really wanted. So you don't understand the yearning. You would
I
do anything.
No, I don't
because
understand it. I don't need to understand it. And, you know, that's for you to deal with. That's fine. We do have the technology to do that. But it does worry me that a lot of time, you know, nature is being sidelined. And I do worry about some women who won't accept and can't accept that you can't always have what you want. You know, life is unfair sometimes. It's tough, you know, but sometimes you just have to get on with it. And
Yeah,
you
but
know,
if you've got that little chance, if you've got
no,
that,
of course,
just that
I'm not
little
denying
chance.
that. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying people shouldn't do it. What I'm saying is that
Don't
you know,
abuse
it has
it.
become,
It's not the first stop, is it? It's the last.
It shouldn't be. It's the last
resort.
resort, and you go to that when you've tried everything else and given it, you know, your best try. But I know there are women coming up to their 40s who think, you know, oh, I've left it too late. Whoops, I've been too busy, you know, with my career, etc. Or I'll just go and have some IVF. And I, you know, I don't care if they do that, if that's what they want to do. But imagine that it doesn't work and you've left it that late. You know, surely everyone should know that the earlier that you try, the easier probably it is to get pregnant. I know there are infertile women who are completely infertile, but I mean, you know, on a general basis, if you're trying to have a family and children, then surely the best thing to do is, you know, stop working so hard and just concentrate a little bit earlier. It's tough, you know, it's not tough, but it's a shame if you've left it too late and you do need some help. But, you know, you can avoid that. I think she's right.
Yeah, I'd love it to be that easy.
If you need any help or advice on fertility issues, please take a look at the Loose Women website, where you will find plenty of information on different organisations that can help. Well, goodness gracious me, is that time already? After the break, we'll be finding out all about today's final guest and his new West End role. That's Sanjeev Bhaskar. In the meantime, take a look at who's dropping by tomorrow.
Lady, I'm gonna strike the thunder. Are you ready? I wanna make you wonder, rolling steady.
Welcome back to the last bit of banter on today's Loose Women. Here we go with some of your emails. Jane's got one.
Yes, I've got one for Zoe about your haunted house. This is from Charlie in Harrogate, and she says, my mum always says that it's the living you need to be scared of, not the dead. So I would not worry about any ghosts and go for your new house, love. There you go. That's good sense, that. Yeah.
Carol, is it me now? This one's from Anne in Chesterfield. She says, when my friend answers the phone and realises it's someone she doesn't want to speak to, she puts on a child's voice and says, my mum's gone out. She says it always works. That's a really good idea,
That's a
isn't
really
it?
good idea.
Wouldn't work with me, though, would it?
Well, we all love it.